how's it going? Welcome back, of course, to the Time Bomb channel, and I hope all is good in your part of the world. Watch review of the Orient Bambino, the latest version, the smaller version, the 38mm, and get ready for this reference number. I can read it through the camera. Yeah, it's RA-AC0M12L30B. They do really need to come up with some better reference numbers, don't they? But it's been a while since I've had an Orient on the channel, and I really wanted to have a look at one of these smaller Bambinos, simply because of the historic success of its bigger sister, bigger brother historically. Massive thanks as well to the lovely people over at First Class Watches for the loan of this one. If you want to talk to them about this particular watch, do please mention the Time Bomb channel, because I'm sure they'd like to hear where you've come from. Let me just zoom in a fraction. So there is our watch for today on that very nice blue. And you know, if you're watching this video, you probably know already that the Bambino has been voted by many people, experts, non-experts, wannabe experts, as the best budget dress watch ever. You can dress this one up for your court appearance or for your leisurely Sunday afternoon luncheon with your mother-in-law. I fell for the Bambino hype a few years back. I had one for a while. I had the champagne dial with the small seconds, but I ended up selling it because the noise and the shakiness of the rotor just really put me off. It just really didn't sound very good at all. And I think it was primarily due to the fact that the steel case body that they'd use was so thin that everything internally sort of echoed and reverberated off itself. So is this newer, smaller version any better? Well, on the other hand, as they say, you have other fingers. But yes, I think the reduced size makes them a lot easier wearers. That are going to make them a lot easier wearers for sorry, I'll start that again. I think the smaller size is going to make them a lot easier wearers for more wrist sizes. And what I mean by that is obviously then, so they're 38 mils across. You can add a couple of mils on there for the crown. The north to south, the important one, is then just 40 mils to the end of those lovely curved lugs down. It's about 12.5 mils deep, so quite deep if you consider the overall circumference. I think most of that, as you can see, is given over to that huge dome on the top. That's crystal there. Yeah, massive. Onto the dial again. Let me just zoom in a fraction there. It says down there above the 6, water resistant. And I think, you know, that's one of my biggest negatives with the watch, because it's not water resistant. It's more sort of splash proof, or as we say, sort of proof. I think it's got, you know, is it 5 meters of watery goodness or something horrible like that? You know, massive area for them to improve on, and one that I think that they could do very quickly and very easily. You do then have obviously that sapphire. Sorry, so sapphire is not sapphire; it's mineral crystal. These do retail, I think, for around £275, so give you a little bit of price orientation about what you might get for that similar price. I mean, the blue sunray dial for me is the reason why I chose this. I mean, it is so darn good looking. It doesn't matter which angle you catch it from, it is a real magnet for your eyeballs. Inside, outside, it just looks absolutely brilliant. Could it have been a touch lighter? Well, sometimes I ummed and ahed about it being a little bit lighter, but then as you can see here, you know, sort of, you know, with the lights on it above, you get so much play from it that no, I think it is just about the right color. Getting a fraction more, you can see the next thing I wanted to talk about was the pointy hands and the pointy hour markers. Again, they sort of reflect each other quite well. You know, chamfered steel edges, polishings, and grooves cut out of those hour markers as well. Allowing for, again, just, you know, it's, as you can see here, it's kind of difficult to actually to film it without it going all over the place, because there is so much light bouncing off here. So again, don't buy this and be surprised with how much refraction you are getting off the dial and everything else. You've then got, what was I going to say? Yeah, so while we're on the dial, you've then got the little date window over at the 3. It's got a little beveled edge as it drops into it. It's not framed, and I think, you know, it doesn't necessarily need to be framed, because with that slightly step down edge there, I think it looks okay. Could it have been color date matched? The date wheel color match to the dial, I mean, potentially, yes, it might have looked a little bit better because the white does stand out, but then maybe some people would say that it was less legible. So again, it's a little bit of 6 of one and 18 of the other. The other thing that I wanted to say, I mean, yeah, so the crown over here obviously then is, is signed, push pull, and the connection with your movement is pretty decent. Yeah, that's not too bad at all, actually. It is, if I remember correctly, the caliber F6724, and that's going to give you around 40 hours of power reserve. And it sort of looks like that. Nice to see that Orient have given you that signed rotor, and you can see everything buzzing away in there. Not too bad looking, but the most important thing for me is the sound. So yes, you can still hear it, but it is far quieter and less clunky. The one that I had before, if I, for example, I took it off and put it on the table, you know, just plopped it down like that, I mean, you could hear it vibrating off the table as that rotor spun around. Sometimes it was kind of a fun sound, but I did find it just to be a little bit domineering, and not something I think that sounded particularly refined. So maybe with the reduced space that you have there within this slightly smaller case body, or maybe they've used a slightly better steel on the case body, I don't know. But it seems like there's less internal free space for that noise to reverb off. The bezel as well is quite nice. It sort of holds that big lump of mineral crystal up the top there, a little polish around the edge. It's just about the right size, isn't it, to frame that dial as well. I think that's very, very good. The nubuck over here, I mean, I don't know what it's like to wear it for a long time during the day, because obviously this is just a loaner, but it feels really, really excellent. It kind of reminds me of some of those Christopher Ward, nubucks. Again, very, very nice straps. And obviously you don't need me to tell you again, you know, with that dial and that stainless steel, these are going to be strap monsters. You can throw them on vintages, you know, even a shark mesh, something like that is going to look pretty good. To me, it's kind of the pretty watch alternative for many of us. I mean, say for example, you're the kind of guy who wears, you know, big chunky steely dive watches all day long, and you need something for dressier occasions. This is an absolute winner. Personally, I think Orient Star options are slightly better for long-termism, as is the case with me, but they are certainly priced to sell, and I think on looks, they look fantastic. Obviously, I've given you some outside shots, but let me just throw it on wrist as well here so that you can see. My wrist is 7 1/4 inch, and it's just the right size. Yeah, really, really, really nice. Yeah, visually, absolutely stunning. And I think in a world where very few people except watch nerds actually either A, look at your wristwatch, or B, know what it is, these are very pretty and a lot posher than they looked. And I think one of the reasons for that, just before I finish, is because another thing that I'd noticed is that contrary to what many other watch brands do, they've brushed the case flanks on here and then polished the tops. As you guys will probably know, it's usually the other way around. It's brushed on the top and polished on the side. And I think that just gives it a slightly different personality and just focuses the light to reflect off other parts of the watch so for example, it focuses all the reflections onto the top, the bezel, the crystal, the dial, etc. And whereas the flanks then just become that little bit more muted. A nice design concept. So well done to them for that. Massive thanks again to the guys at First Class Watches for the loan. Very much looking forward to hearing your thoughts, guys, on this slightly smaller version. Maybe you've got one already. Do drop us a comment down below. Thanks as always for your time and for your view, and we'll catch you all in the next watch vid. Cheers, guys.